morning. This is the
Mike, sorry.
Oh, gotta have my microphone, don't I? Good morning. This is the October 19th, 2023 meeting of the Facilities and Infrastructure Committee, and we're calling to order. Changes to the agenda. We have a revised resolution under transportation. I take it back, under Highway Department, revised, it's number C there. And we also are going to add a resolution about construction of the office space in chambers. I think everybody has those. Have those gone to Deborah? Does she have them?
I believe so.
All right. Randy Brown and Lee Shurtleff and Greg Mezey are here in chambers with me, and Deborah Dawson is on Zoom this morning. How you doing, Deb?
I've been better.
Good. Do we have any public comment this morning? We had an executive session on the agenda. I'm thinking, however, that maybe we do not need to do that. We've had no public comment. It would have to do with a particular person being appointed, and that is down under number 10. But unless anybody's going to need an executive session on that, I think we can skip it. I'm seeing lots of nods, so we won't do the executive session. I don't have anything in particular to report this morning. May have a couple of comments during some of our department presentations this morning. Why don't we go to our county administrator?
Thank you, Mike.
Hello, Lisa.
Good morning. I just have a few brief informational updates. One, I had sent an email regarding the mural project for the Community Justice Center, and we have Mona Smiley with us on Zoom today. If anyone had questions to that, it was questions regarding that. It was really just an update on the timeline, which had been a little bit delayed due to the condition of the side of the building that needed a little bit more work, and then there were some slight adjustments made to the mural itself, but it is moving along according to the new timeline, with the mural beginning by the end of the year, weather permitting, and then the mosaic piece to occur in the springtime. But if you have any further questions on that, Mona has more details.
Good morning, Mona. Anything you'd like to say to us this morning?
Good morning. Just thanks for having me. It's been a process, but we're moving through it. We're pretty excited. I've met with the young ladies from the Black Girl Alchemist through Southside Community Center on a couple of occasions. We're meeting again this Friday. We have had, Rob has been able to join us, Rob Henry. So he's going to do like a documentary walkthrough of the whole entire project, interviewing with the young ladies and things of that nature. It's pretty exciting to see the artists take their thought process and their brainchild, is what I call it, and put it on paper with some color. So I'm pretty excited, and I'm happy to answer any questions that there may be.
Questions? Greg?
I'm no art expert and don't claim to be, but I think it looks really beautiful. I'm excited to see it come to life. So thanks for the work, and I know art is an ever-evolving process and concept, so I really appreciate the work that everybody's doing. I think this will be a nice addition to the community, so thank you for the efforts.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm no art expert either, but I don't hesitate to comment.
Oh, is there a comment?
No, I made it at a previous meeting. And I think the idea of having the mural there is pretty nice.
So thank you. And thank you, Mona, for coming for the details. In the other updates I have, at the last meeting, there were some follow-up questions, and we were seeking legal opinion on, and we will have those opinions to bring back to the November meeting in consultation with the county attorney and other land use attorneys. And then finally, an update on the search for a CDL site. The search continues. There's really no further update on that. We do not have a local site as of yet.
Well, that's unfortunate, and we hope we can continue looking. And at some point, we may need to think about a capital project for this. That's my feeling.
Have you spoke to Cornell about this? They have a lot of parking lots, and they just don't, nothing to.
They tried. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they tried to find a spot, and we were unsuccessful. Yeah, but we did. We worked with the folks at facilities there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure may.
How much space are you looking for? Just out of curiosity, is there a general?
We do have, I don't have it in front of me, but it's actually the last discussion I had with the Department of Motor Vehicles said we could actually get half the space, and they could use that. But I can send it to you. I'd have to
I'm
find it.
just curious, so you're talking an acre, 2 acres, 10 acres?
I saw Jeff was on. He too has.
Yes, there.
He might remember. Do you remember exactly the size? Because you were the one looking at potentially building it.
200 by 50
Thank you.
for one test area.
I'm sorry, Shauna? Morning, Shauna.
Good morning, thank you. I would hope that if we're, whoops, sorry about that. If we are looking at whoops, I'm sorry, I think my computer just froze there for a second. I would hope that if we are looking at some type of space, that we would be coordinating those efforts with our workforce and diversity or IAED and economic development, because I think they're the professionals on who's looking for work, agencies, and all the job looking that's happening here in the county. And I think that they should definitely be part of the conversation.
Got to find a site first, I agree. Anything else? Lisa?
Oh, no, thank you. That's it for us. Thanks.
Thank you. Shall we go to Highway? Morning, Jeff Smith.
Morning, everyone. Nice to see the sun outside.
Rare.
I have a quarterly status report that I could go through
Go for it.
pretty quickly. Yeah. So let's see. I'm finding it on my computer so I can follow it. Here it is. There's a couple projects that are really kind of going on right now. The other one, there isn't. The other projects that are listed here are really the same from last quarter, although there has been continued work with the consultants on it. That being the Podunk Road and Fall Creek Roads bridges, Cortlandt Street as well. The couple I would like to bring your attention to and report on. One is Station Road. It is a project that's underway now. It's a 2 culvert project. It's partially funded through DEC. There's some stream work involved, water quality project. That's the WQIP, how it's funded through DEC. We have been able to complete 1 upper culvert. We're working to start the second culvert. For both of these culverts, there was a water line, a section of the water line that had to be kind of replaced. So they're getting a little new water line infrastructure as well to the little water district that's in that area. So there's a little bit of a process we're getting through before we can start the second culvert. And as soon as we get the water tests approved, then we'll be continuing. We do expect to be finishing both culverts this year. And the stream work will need to be, because we're asked after the the permit deadline with DEC, we're gonna need to go into next year, which actually is somewhat advantageous because the stream will be able to be better witnessed, I guess, and work through. DEC is pretty hands-on with the stream work and what we're doing there. So the delay for that piece of the work is actually advantageous. I think DEC and we do agree. The other culvert or the other project is the Bridge New York culverts that are going on. They have completed the one out in Brooktondale. I think that was already done. We're not sure at the last quarterly report. And then the one that have also completed is on Pine Tree Road. That is all done. It's repaved, and now they're working on the one right around the corner on the end of Ellis Hollow Road, kind of near the old Burger King area. And then following that, we are told they're supposed to be going to the Peruville culvert site. But that may actually, I feel like that's probably going to go on into next year. Again, because of the permitting requirements with DEC and working in the water, that one is there's a flowing creek through that one. And it's likely that without extending the culvert working into the fall, which I don't think DEC is going to want to do, they'll probably be restarting that one up next spring. That's pretty much it on the quarterly status report. Thank you.
Are there questions about the projects?
With no questions, there's a capital payment summary if people wanted to review that, and certainly speak up if you have any questions on any of that. And there's a resolution I see in the highway side of things, and I can speak to that.
Well, let me take the capital payment summary report and ask whether anyone on the committee has any questions about that. Station Road, Annette Lane Bridge, and East Hill intersection work. We always have to pay for them, it seems.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to your resolution. This is the revised version. Resolution for additional American Rescue Plan funding to cover 2022 OTR for Highway Machinery Department, OTR number 15, snow and ice tandem truck. Someone want to move it? Randy, seconded by Greg. I think we talked about this at budget, Deb, if I recall, yesterday.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, the only report I would want to make clear with this is that when the truck was ordered, and I don't exactly know the model year, but there's such a long delay. It's very typical to see they'll quote a price, but then before delivery or other things, we're getting the exact same truck we ordered, but it's a year newer. And because of price inflation and other things going on, it's an increase in the cost of the truck. It is a year newer, which we're glad to see that.
How much does the truck cost? But this says about the increase.
Overall,
Yeah.
we're in the $250,000 range. It's a full harnessed plow truck. I've seen a lot of increases in my time doing this type of work, and it just continues to go up and up and up. And you know, they're in the $250,000 to $300,000 range is the average price for a tandem axle truck with the full like plow and salt, the spreader and all that. They are running about $250,000 to $300,000, somewhere in that ballpark. But this one is around $250,000, $260,000,
Shauna?
if I remember correctly.
Shauna, I see your hand. Or is that an old hand?
Sorry, old hand.
Okay. I try not to miss hands. Sometimes I do. All righty, we're ready to vote on this? Roll call, Deb?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
I'm a yes. That's unanimous. Anything else you want to report? I had see, then I'll go to questions.
No, I'm set. It's we're still buttoning things up. We're very active on the various roads projects that are going on. We are finishing up. You know, the last few paving projects are left to do, but we've had a pretty good year. You know, even with the kind of off and on weather, rain type situation we've had a pretty good year, really good year with road work, and not really looking forward to the next phase of our operation coming in. Hopefully it delays, but we are going to be switching our trucks over to the plow equipment here pretty soon.
With El Nino, are you in a milder winter or a harder winter this year?
I'll tell you in the spring.
Good answer.
Yeah.
I did have a couple of questions. There's just been discussion starting about the sale of the Cargill salt mine, and I know we get our salt from there. There's some folks out there would like to see the mine closed down. Any idea how that would affect us if we had to try to find salt from somewhere else?
So I'm going to have to turn and look at my desk because I have the exact numbers right here, what we pay per ton of salt. And then I also know around the state, and for an example, St. Lawrence County pays, and I'll just do that right now.
Sure.
You'll excuse me. Our salt prices in 21-22 were, a couple years ago, they were $52.90. And last year they were $61.40. That's per ton. We have to tell the state when they OGS that bid the salt, we order about 7,000 tons of salt. So if you do the math on that, it's a big number. The way the state contract works, you have to buy at least 60% of that or 70% of that, and they only guarantee that price 20% over that 7,000 ton mark. But so the bid this year has actually gone down, which is helping us. It's $56.44. There is escalation as you go through the winter. That's not always the exact price, but it's starting at that point, which is nice to see it go down because we've seen a lot of increases over the last few years. To compare our number of $56.44, I know St. Lawrence County pays $72.40 a ton. So it's quite a bit more. There's other counties, it's really about trucking. I think the mine location for us is advantageous. It's close to the county, but we would, if they decided to, I don't know that selling it is mean they're going to do something else with it. Is it still going to be mine? I don't know really. I'm not really up on what the plans are there, but it would very, very likely impact our cost of salt, clearly. Delivery wise, it is convenient. They enjoy a quick delivery to us and towns and things around. I'm sure Cayuga, Cortland, Seneca County, Schuyler, these counties that are all in the direct kind of surrounding us are also would probably report the same. There are other competitors that do bid against the state contract against Cargill. They likely will always win this area because of the close delivery ability. But so it's a little bit unknown. But to give a comparison of a county that's kind of like out in the middle of nowhere, St. Lawrence County up in the North Country, they're paying $20 more than we are per ton.
Deborah?
Yeah, it was my understanding that the reason Cargill put this mine on the market was because they're getting out of the salt mining business. If somebody buys it and plans to continue operating as a salt mine, then I guess we'll just substitute one nearby provider for another.
Greg? Greg?
Yeah, thanks for the info, Jeff. Because of the proximity and because of the equipment that we have we done the math on, is it advantageous for us to do the pickup rather than paying for delivery from Cargill? I know a lot of other places that use quite a bit of salt and have trucks and equipment will often go pick up their salt. Is that something that we've looked at if it makes financial sense for us to do?
Yeah, we always, with every commodity that we haul, we use that as a guide. It still would cost us our time and the fuel, for sure, like I'm sure you understand, but generally it's easier for them. They're hauling, we don't have the tractor trailer style bodies. So like our dump trucks that we do have a couple of tractor longer trucks that we can haul more material in, but they have a whole fleet of that type of truck that come in. So when you're talking about getting a delivery of 1,000 tons, they can do that in a few days. That would take us a few weeks to do that, the same amount of material. They move a lot of material very quickly. But we do compare that. They don't, there's a little bit of, try to find the right word. They really limit traffic in and out of the mine. They want to make sure it's safe and everything else. It's not that it's a hazardous process or anything, but us like bringing other trucks in, you're actually waiting in line with a lot of other trucks that are getting delivered all around the state. So that's part of, it's a little bit of an added, you have to manage that correctly. They have to know when you're coming. There is no towns that I know, even in our county, that will actually have the salt delivered. They always have Cargill deliver the salt. I think Lansing tried doing it for a while, which you'd think would really make sense. And I'm not sure exactly why they don't anymore, but I believe it's just advantageous and equitable to continue having them deliver versus using our own trucks.
What I've been hearing, and some of us have been hearing, is not that a new buyer wouldn't continue to run the mine, but that the permit from DEC, I think, only goes 4 or 5 more years, and there are groups out there arguing with DEC that they ought to just shut it down now rather than to let it go to the end of the permit. And of course, the owner of the mine at that time could always ask for the permit to be extended. So those things are all in play, at least in the information I've been reading. I had one other question, and that is, how's things going with our weights and measures changes?
Excellent. Very good. The state provides some really great training. Heather is like out on the road. She's updating me every week, doing a great job. I've talked to her 2 or 3 times a week, and she kind of fills me in, and she's getting more and more comfortable. She's able to do gas stations. grocery stores. You know, she's like, I'm doing it all on my own. I can't say anything, you know, it's just been a great process, and it's nice to have her. She's really getting on top of it, doing a good job.
Well, that's good news. Thank her for us, will you?
I will, yep.
Randy?
Hello, Jeff. Does the county use anything other than salt, sand, or is that even something that you've considered?
Yeah, we do. So our salt operation, it's a targeted, there's a couple tools in the toolbox that we use for that. We do use some treated salt. We have an operation where we get the bulk liquid and we treat it ourselves. We mix it around. It's really temperature driven and storm driven. The other product we use is called 1Bs, which is like a very clean aggregate, but very tiny, small. It's not sand. It's like a small stone. And sometimes, like, the cost of that is obviously much cheaper than salt. But when we use that, when we go into operation of that, is during like a multi-hour or a day-long storm. Because if you're just applying salt over and over again, you're kind of wasting the salt because it's snowing and you're plowing. So we start putting the aggregate on the road to allow the traction, and we do cover salt in there. So the salt's working, but then we want to keep putting aggregate down. And then the temperature, salt freezes or thaws water, salt works down to 10, maybe, 9, 10 degrees. If you start getting colder, then you start using treated salt. And then at some point, if it's a real cold day, windy day, 10 below zero, your salt's not really doing anything. And if it's a multi-day like that, then we'll go to the 1Bs as well. So there's a kind of you're looking at the forecast and you're determining what you're doing, but we do use other products.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jeff Smith? Jeff, we appreciate your report.
Thank you. Have a great day.
I see Deborah's cat's got his tail up.
I saw that. Thank you.
Well, now she's on my lap.
Let's move to airport. Roxanne Noble.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to give a quick update on Airport Day. Those of you that were able to make it, thank you for stopping up. We had a great day, the pancake breakfast. I mean, that's always a hit, for everybody. We had 266 participants in our 5K race, and they were ranging in age from 4 years old to 78 years old. So it was really great to see that. Everybody got off the airfield on time. They were off the runway and the taxiway, so we didn't have to pick anybody up and toss them in a truck and bring them in so that we could open back up in time. A lot of people participated in that. We had a lot of different vendors here, different groups here. The county office for the aging was here and had set up a table. Jeff Dunn set up some volunteers for us to help with registration at the race. It went really smooth. I appreciate everybody that came to help, and we're already planning for next year, so be on the lookout for that. So thank everybody in the community. We had fire companies here, we had the state police, we had the sheriff's department. It was a really good turnout.
Roxanne, I was able to attend, and I was very, very impressed. I'm always impressed by those pancake breakfasts and how they have that set up into a real, almost like an industry to get those numbers of people through. They do a great job.
They really do. They really do.
But some of the displays, I was particularly impressed by the displays and that state police brought. They had a whole contingent there, and they brought in their helicopter.
Yep.
And they brought in their demonstration machines for seatbelts and other things. And that was impressive. And looking at, I know you say fire departments, I know Dryden was there with its ladder truck, and it was interesting to me because whenever I see that, I think it's a huge machine, but sitting next to the airport equipment, it looked pretty small.
It does, it does. So we had Dryden, we had Lansing here. We had the Southern Tier balloons here. You could do the tethered ride up in the balloon.
They had a beautiful
So people were
balloon,
doing that and having a ball. We actually have a great shot of some of the state troopers that went up in it. So, I mean, it's a good day. It's a good community event. The kids loved it. Crossroads the Clown was here, and he's always entertaining. I try to warn everybody because there are people that have a fear of clowns. My daughter is one of them. So, yeah, but it's a good event, and it's really, family friendly and fun. And, we had some of our T-hanger tenants bring their aircraft out, and they thoroughly enjoyed that, so they could be able to talk about their aircraft. And it was just a nice day. It was a good day.
Well, thank you again, and I'm glad to hear you're already thinking about next year.
We are.
Anything else you'd like to report to us?
I can it's on both of the resolutions, so we can do it as we do the resolutions.
All right,
if that's easier, that
Let's
works.
do that. Let's do Resolution A, authorizing acceptance of a U.S. Department of Transportation Small Community Air Service Development Grant for air service expansion, Ithaca Tompkins International Airport. That's 11977. Greg moves it. Is there a second? Seconded by Lee. Go ahead.
So this, I want to thank, first of all, everybody that supported this grant application. We put it back in May. The grant is for $750,000 to assist getting a flight back to the DC area. That area, we had flights into Dulles before, was great market for us. Many people in the community, businesses, educational institutions use it. We've been told that it was one of the best grant applications they've read. So kudos to everybody that assisted on putting that together. Heather and from Ithaca Area Economic Development, she was a big proponent of that as well. We had Kurt Anderson, he helped it. Many letters of support from local legislators, from senators, congressmen. So it was a great application. It'll be a great use of getting us back to a market that's really important for Ithaca.
Greg.
Thanks, Roxanne, and again, congratulations on that. I'm reading on line 17, that whereas 17 to 19, it says totaling $750,000 along with $350,000 from community support for additional revenue guarantee funds and marketing support for the airport. Could you just clarify what that $350,000 from community support is coming from? I don't know if I missed that or if that was in the memo.
Yep, so the $250,000, there'll be a community revenue guarantee that Heather will be securing for that, and $100,000 over 2 years from our marketing dollars. We'll also, we'll use some of our marketing funds that we have in our current marketing budget for the airport operating budget to also market the DC service, so it'll be a joint.
Got it, thank you.
Yep.
Deborah.
Yeah, I really hope this works because we love the DC service. But I was a little confused because I thought the reason that we lost some of the flights we lost was because the airlines just couldn't accommodate that given their shortage of pilots. How does money help us?
So we have one current airline partner that really wants to get back to the DC market. They're trying to get their aircraft back there. So we were technically on one of their lists to hopefully get us back there. This may get them to move on that sooner by helping, market it, so that'll give us more, and then they can offer more flights, more seats in the market by doing this. So that's one of the proponents of the grants, and the discussion is they're putting together the plan of, okay, if we can maybe get 3 flights to the DC area and market it even more, it'll fill them, and then they'll be able to offer that by moving out of, a current location that they're in.
So it mentions a revenue guarantee and fee waivers. So I guess that's part of it as well. You would use that money for a revenue guarantee?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Hope it works.
Me too.
Are we ready to vote? Oh, Greg, go ahead.
Sorry, just one other question, Roxanne. With revenue guarantees, if the revenue exists, do you need the revenue guarantee, or is this a backstop if the revenue is not there?
So this could be multiple phases. It could be, depending on how, when we determine the airline, what the agreement is, what we work towards. Of a lot of revenue guarantees work where if they reach a certain point, they don't need the funds. So like we've done revenue, we have not. The community has done revenue guarantees because the airport can't be involved directly with a negotiation with an airline relating to that. But if a revenue guarantee is put out there that if, say, I'll use American because they're no longer here, it's something that if a revenue guarantee was given to American, if they don't reach 1 million in a year, then we have to, give them $250,000 or whatever we've determined. But there's also where, depending on how the wording is, depending on how the contract is put together with the airline of, we will give you this to help initiate the service, or if you don't reach a certain amount, we will pay you that. So it just depends on the wording put together when we move more forward with the contract.
So just to follow up to that briefly, let's say that we are able to secure an airline to have a DC market flight open up, and it's it goes gangbusters, wild success. Could these funds be used for another route or something else if they're not utilized? These aren't locked into just this, but they're available to the airport to use to secure additional routes?
We would have to reach out to the DOT to repurpose them.
Okay.
So it would be, in which we could do. We could reach out and say, this has worked, or, this was working gangbusters. We didn't need to use this for that much. Can we repurpose this funds for a different flight or an additional flight on a current market that we have? So there is some leeway there, but it does take work. It's not something that's easily done, but it can be done. I've known it to be done in the past.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I appreciate the clarity.
Yep.
Are we ready to vote on this one? Let's go ahead. Deborah?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
I'm a yes, so it's unanimous. Let's take the next resolution. Award of consulting agreement, strategic business plan, Ithaca Tompkins International Airport. That's 11986. Is there a motion? Randy, seconded by Greg. Go ahead, Roxanne.
Okay, so this is the strategic and business plan that you and Shauna actually had done a member filed resolution for our 2023 budget. We actually received 4 proposals on that, 4 good proposals. I had a committee review them from county administration, from the Air Service Board, from the airport, reviewed them. There was one that came out on top, and pretty much everybody's felt this is a consensus. This group, I think, will do a great job for us. They're going to review everything. I think that's important. I think it's good to have somebody come in and look at how things are operating, see how we're doing with things. They're going to look at what we can do for non-airline revenue, how we can increase air service, how we can look at a plan and a roadmap moving forward. There's 3 actual, there's the main vendor, which would be QED, but they have 2 sub-consultants. They have all worked on multiple airports, on COVID relief, on, getting air service back, on other opportunities. I've been here a long time, and I've been doing this for a long time. I believe it's important to have somebody come in, take a fresh look at everything, sit down with all of us and say, how about we change this up? So I'm really actually looking forward to this process. It's going to be a short process. They should have it done in 10 months. I'm kind of excited.
Questions? Shall we vote? Deborah?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Anything else
Thank
for
you.
us today, Roxanne?
Nope, I just have a budget transfer, but that's information only at the bottom, so.
Any questions
I
on
think
that
I'm
one?
good.
from the group? Not
The
seeing
cost
any.
of sand is increased as well. Our cost of everything has, so we needed more funds for that.
Roxanne, I did have one question, and that was, I think a couple meetings ago, we were talking about the customs facility, and particularly, we had Mr. Horn in from the fixed base operator. And I know at one point you said you were going to work on the figures about how the revenue that this produces is spread out over more than just the one line. When might we hear a report on that?
Hopefully within the next month or so. I'm also trying to get more data on the cargo that's coming in and going out. So working on that with Mike Coran.
All right, so
and hopefully
in the next couple of
November.
months, then, we
Yep.
might hear from it. Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you, guys.
All right, we appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Let's go to Rel. Rel, you want to come up? Good morning.
Good morning. So, yeah, I was asked to attend. I know the legislature office is looking at adding another office space, so we've been working with them, discussing over the past several weeks of potential opportunities where we could locate a temporary office. About, I think, almost 4 years ago, we had started the discussion when Kathy was here, and we had proposed then we hadn't shared it with F&I, of locating it over here on this corner. But I know that most recently there's been...
Be aware of your microphone.
Recently that there was a discussion about locating it possibly over on this side. And so we've had some more discussions with Katrina and Cedric Furniture Systems that does these portable systems. Are actually called DIRT, D-I-R-R-T, and we've done these in several other county buildings. And it's something that would be temporary, can be removed. And so we received a proposal from them, showed a layout over on that corner. We think it'll work. It would require us to do some minimal adjustments over there for the mailboxes that the legislators access. But I think it would be a better location than over here by the bathrooms. And I think Brittany, they had something to share with the committee. They have a resolution, but also some pictures of what that could look like. And Katrina was...
That looks pretty isolated.
Yeah, we're going to put them out on the ice.
No, but Katrina was planning to be here, but there was a family emergency, and so she let me know early this morning that she wouldn't be able to attend. So I said that I could be here in person. So that's where it was proposed, over on this corner. And this is where we're looking. This is what it would look like. It would match the height of the existing offices now, which is about 9 feet. It would be it can be all glass the way these are, and the systems that we've done in other buildings either can be clear glass, it can be opaque, it could be hard panels where there's less natural light. So there's a lot of flexibility, and that's a sliding door. So it wouldn't open in like these offices would to provide additional space inside. The cabinets would be inside the office, but those mailboxes would be outside that would still be accessible to all the legislators. We think it would work. We've looked at the power that can be easily moved to accommodate this office system. It would take probably 6 to 8 weeks once we get a go-ahead and approval to get it ordered and installed. In the meantime, we could, you would lose some public seating, but I know that Katrina has been able to move those seats over here. I think she did a test a week or more ago that we would be able to move all but maybe 3 chairs over to this side. We would also have to work with the Dominic and Rob to relocate that one camera that's over there, just to the right of that structural member. We would need to either do it like we've done over here, which is on the top of the office there, so we would be able to work with them to relocate that. So if there are any questions, I'm free to discuss that with you. Now, the plan is we didn't want to do anything permanent. We know that if we are to move forward with the Center of Government project, I'll be more positive. As we move forward with the Center of Government project, that the plan for this building had been to create additional legislature office space on the first floor. And so that way we could undo that, and those systems we can use anywhere. We've been using them, as I've said, at several departments already in various buildings, so it's something that we could reuse at any other location. So it wouldn't be money that is lost or wasted.
So Brittany, is this what is being recommended by Katrina and you and your department?
It is, yes.
All right, because we did vote last meeting to go ahead with the one in the corner, but with this one, the one question I have is, you know, we legislators sometimes use that counter space. So I guess we're going to have to go into the office to do that?
No, when we relocate the printer and everything to the other side of that office space, we would actually have a table set up for, like with the pens, pencils,
Yep, all that
things like
stuff,
that. Yep.
pads and mailing envelopes and things. Okay. And what about the screen? Is there going to be a screen on this end of it?
I can clarify that really briefly, if you'd like.
Please go ahead.
Thanks. There will not be a screen in that area with the updated screen plan that we most recently gave to government operations. It looks like the 98-inch, very large screen that will go above where the public sign-in is, the blue sheets, will be sufficient for most people in the room. There may be a little challenge with people who are sitting right by the door, but if they need to view the presentation, we'd encourage that they are able to view that screen. That there just wouldn't be enough people sitting over on that side with this to make an additional screen worth the several $1,000s to install it.
Well, I guess we'll see how it works. I know both sides of the room can see the current drop-down screens, but whether they'll be able to see these or not, well, I guess we'll have to see.
Certainly.
So, Randy, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the alternate choice. I was concerned about that corner. We saw a lot of people here on Tuesday,
Right.
and we need space, and I think that there's no real good choices in here, right? But that one seems like a better one to me.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
So around, right now, there's splits in each of these offices. Is there going to be any issue with the heat on that? I know it's open, but.
No, we don't believe so. There is perimeter hot water that goes along the wall, so that'll provide the heating.
Okay.
And with an open ceiling, they'll be able to get good air circulation and cooling.
Thanks.
I've only ever really had to use our splits maybe a handful of times.
Sorry, I don't know what you mean by splits.
Yeah, it's a split mini unit, so it can cool the space, because those offices have a ceiling, so they're not open to getting the conditioned air from this space. So they have a miniature
They're a heater.
heat pump split unit. Yeah.
Okay.
Cooling and heating, yeah.
I understand. All right, ready to vote? Lee, go ahead.
Procedural question. Did we pass a resolution at the last meeting?
It was a motion. Do you want to rescind the motion first? We can do that.
Is that what we need to do?
Probably we should. Do you want to move to rescind it?
Yeah, I will. I don't know who made the motion, but if that matters or not.
Doesn't matter. We can just Randy voted against it, so I don't think we can have him do it, so. If you want to move to rescind, is there a second to rescind it? Seconded by Greg. Ready to vote on rescinding the motion to put the office in the back corner. Deb?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
I vote yes, so that motion is rescinded. Now let's, do we have this other motion on the table? I can't remember. All right, let's have someone want to move this one? Greg, is there a second? Seconded by Randy. Further discussion? Let's vote. Deb?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Okay. Laurel, what else do you want to talk to us about?
Well, I could report on the deconstruction of the Baker Dental Building. I don't know if any of you over the last few weeks have had the opportunity to walk down the block or drive by.
Yes.
The building is gone, and it's taken longer to do the backfill. It's a structural backfill, so they're compacting. But as far as the deconstruction process, we wanted them to crush the foundation, concrete foundation, so they brought in a crusher. They had some problems initially. That broke down, but they were able to get it working again late or early last week. So basically, they were taking the concrete walls and crushing it and putting it back in the pit. So it's all sustainable rather than trucking it and taking it to a landfill. So they've done that. We also had to bring in imported structural fill, and so they were compacting it. And then the upper 12 inches, we're doing a crusher run. But then because they had rain over the weekend, early in the week, they stopped operations because you don't want it too wet when you're compacting. And so they started back. I drove by earlier this morning. So they're finishing up. We don't believe that they're going to be done by the end of this week. I know that county employees are clamoring to get access back to that parking area, but it's been out of my control. I don't control the weather, unfortunately, and so that's taken a little longer. But it's very open. We will be putting a fence between the county's property and the north property on Tioga Street. But then we've also started having discussions outside of the contract for deconstruction to put some screening, some vegetation where the building used to be, because now it's very obvious that it's basically a parking area. And we want to put some screening also to detract people from parking there, because it's going to be a larger lot. My recommendation, and I've mentioned this to Lisa, is that that's probably something that we should address within the next year, because that is going to, this next winter is really going to affect the park. I mean, it was poor to begin with. There was very little asphalt. There was gravel, dirt, and the back portion. So after this winter, it's really going to be in poor condition. So either decide what we want to do. Either we could, asphalting is a lot more money, and putting islands, but we should do something to treat the parking area to at least help it last longer. But did want to let you know, because this winter with crusher on that portion, when we plow it, we're going to have to then come back. Lee knows when we had the parking over next to emergency response, which was gravel, we'd have to come back every spring with highway and then redo the crusher run. But the building is down. That went well. It took longer because we were deconstructing. We've had really good relations with the neighbor closest to the building. We did an informational flyer that we sent not only to her, but all neighbors in the area to let them know what the process would involve. We've had good, almost daily communications with Mia Pancalda, which is the neighbor. She's been very pleased with the process that we followed. We've actually done additional air testing and monitoring than is required, just so that we could be transparent. And we've not had any, we've actually been below the dust limits during the deconstruction of the project. So I think I've been very pleased with this contractor. It's one that we would
Who is that
use.
contractor and where are they from?
It's LCP Group. They're out of the Binghamton area.
Binghamton?
They're the ones that are actually doing the work. The GC is Smith Group, but LCP did the abatement and also the deconstruction. And it's one that we would recommend to use for the properties on the 300 block as well. Any questions on that?
If they happen to take down the Key Bank building, they better bring in a real big concrete crusher.
Oh, yes, they have a full basement downstairs. I did actually talk to them last week about the two buildings there, the Key Bank and the Professional Law Building, as far as which one would be easier to deconstruct, at least the portion above grade, and they said that the Key Bank would be much easier. And there's a lot of salvage value to the steel there, as well as the glass. The glass can be crushed and used in concrete. So they're very forward-thinking in that aspect to be very sustainable, and so that's why we like to use them.
Used to use a lot of glass like that for salvage glass they used to sell.
Yeah.
Reuse the glass.
Yeah, it'll be hard in deconstruction to prevent it from cracking, and it's your older style glass. It's not the insulated type glass that we could, reuse, but they say that it has good value for concrete additives.
Questions? Deborah, didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
That's okay, thanks. Yeah, so I wanted to ask about the salvage aspect of all this. My understanding is that the reason we deconstruct is in order to salvage whatever materials we can. So I was just wondering to what extent there was anything salvageable in the dental building. And then my second question would be, if there are salvageable materials, who gets the proceeds of the salvage?
So it's been several months. Was it last year we actually brought Historic Ithaca and Finger Lakes Reuse through the building several times, tours, and so they expressed interest on a lot of the elements of the building. And then we opened it up several days with our staff so that they could come in and remove those items from the building. And I remember the initial walkthroughs, they expressed interest for a lot more items that they ended up actually taking. And then we salvaged some of that, any copper, things like that we were easily accessible, we took. But then as part of the deconstruction, any salvage value then goes to the contractor. I mean, they basically include that in their price. If not, their price would have been higher, and we would have received the proceeds from that. We felt it was easier to manage the project if they basically, once we turned it over to them, that they would benefit from proceeds from salvage. But as I said, initially we walked through with Historic Ithaca and Finger Lakes Reuse for them to take as much as they were interested in. And as far as that, no, we didn't. We did not have any agreement to benefit from anything that they may have profited from that because, we didn't.
Because they're not for profits, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Greg?
Yeah, I've seen LCP demolish or take down a building before. It's amazing to watch them. I mean, they can pick out a frying pan out of a pile of rubble with a massive excavator.
We saw it, not a frying pan, but
a small sink, a piece of 1-inch copper pipe, 3 inches long, they can pick up. It's amazing to watch. So I have no doubt that, they did their best to make sure that materials that had future life were, sorted properly. Because I think that's,
right.
That's a secondary piece of their business is to, quote something and understand the salvage value of a building as well. So I'm sure they did a great job.
Yes.
Randy?
Yes, sir. Could you remind us what would it cost to do this? You can email me. I'm just curious.
No, it's $335,000.
Go Go ahead.
I will just state for what it's worth, since Key Bank has vacated, county staff we are benefiting from a lot of the office furnishings that were seemingly brand new. So desks, chairs, et cetera,
Yes.
we're using in administration, and I know elsewhere.
We're scavengers.
Well, it's almost new furniture. Most of what we asked them, you sure you don't want to take it? And they didn't. So we've had a few departments that are looking for furniture. And I think even Katrina, for this space that we may create, may grab some furniture to fill that office.
That we're fiscally responsible.
Yes.
Fiscally responsible scavengers.
Yes. Adapt and reuse.
Right.
A couple of things I wanted to ask about, and one thing I wanted to highlight in your statement. You said that or maybe it was Elisa, that the staff is really anxious to get back to being able to park on the 400 block. I think that's very important. We know we have needed more parking, and we know that they're getting that's getting a lot of usage over there from county employees from our campus down here. So I just want to underscore that's happening.
Right, because during the deconstruction, we opened up the key bank that was vacated, and so that parking lot is full. We actually had to send a notice to at least our tenant in the professional law building, just to let them know that if they were parking there, that it was no longer available for parking. And they were parking there, and so, but it's full. Every time we drive by, it is packed, but it's not enough to offset what we've had to, what we've lost during the deconstruction.
A new building, that'll be gone anyway, where the key bank is.
Correct. And then with INHS, once they start over here on the 400 block, we'll have less space, as well as when we sell the Red House.
Has that closed?
No.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a follow-up on that question?
Sure.
What's the timeline for the INHS portion of that parcel?
They are still going through the city's subdivision process, and so our closing is contingent on that.
Right, so 12 to 18 months?
It's
Sorry,
already.
that was cheap shot. Sorry.
It's in process. They're pretty far along, so it should be.
Randy?
Thank you, Greg. So I think that, didn't you have some schematics or some type of a design that you had looked at for a parking area over there? I mean, is that the next step, is to maybe have somebody present some type of outline?
Well, we could, if that's the direction of this committee. I mean, that would be an expense to do that. I've suggested making a decision which way we want to go. When we put in structural fill, because we don't know what's going to happen with it, and so we didn't want to, if it's decided to put a structure, which I wouldn't suggest, but if it is, we wanted to have structural backfill there. But my suggestion is, as you know, the neighborhood is very active in expressing, any complaints they have, and so once we get rid of the Red House, all that's left that we own there will be the parking lot. And I'm sure that we will receive, comments from the neighbors as far as what we do with that parking lot. We do not want to let it go either. And as I said, another winter is going to affect it, and so we'll have to have some plans come next year. But yes, I have ideas. I haven't put on paper, but it would be similar to what we have up at the health department. We would put islands. It would be it wouldn't just be a flat open parking spot with good screening and islands through it, good drainage. Right now there's poor drainage on that lot. So yes, it's something that we could look at if that were the desire of this committee.
I think there's no doubt in the next 5 years, anyways, we're going to need parking, especially once we start doing construction over here. You're going to lose more parking spaces during that process. So I think in the short term, which could be 5 years or longer, we should consider that. So.
Okay.
Who am I missing? Deb.
Yeah, this kind of raises a whole lot of questions in my mind. I mean, first of all, what my understanding was that once INHS started building and the county started working on the central government construction, that empty space would be a staging area of some kind. So that's going to be a parking problem as well. But more to the point, the fact that we've been able to go ahead with deconstructing that building at the same time that we worry that we can't deconstruct the Wiggins and Key Bank buildings because we don't have a plan for what we're going to replace them with confuses me. Because as I understand it, we don't exactly have a plan for that piece of property that's going to be left, other than that we're at least temporarily using it for parking. And I don't understand why we could get away with deconstructing that under those circumstances, but we're going through so much angst about how and when we can deconstruct the other two buildings. If somebody could explain that to me, I'd be very grateful.
Lisa.
That's the legal opinion that we're looking for and will be coming back to address in the November meeting. Either.
Hey, I'll stay tuned.
Deb, I have all the same questions, and we are the county, which is a larger municipality, and I've always thought that should make a difference, but we'll wait for the legal opinion. Arel, I wanted to talk about the graffiti on the Wiggins building and something that's just happened to this building, which really upset me, is that we've had a piece of the copper downspout stolen. If you look from when you're parking, it's on the corner right over here. That's wonderful copper downspouts and gutters that we have, and there's several of them around. I wondered, were we able to review our tapes to see if we could catch or see who did that? Do we report these to the city police? I would think the city police could talk to the local junk dealers, metal dealers, and be on the lookout for something like that. I don't even know whether you could replace that or whether you'd have to have it specially manufactured.
Yeah. So, yeah, we were aware of it like the day after it happened, and we did go through the video. We were able to find footage on it. It was at night. It was difficult but they were able to, distinguish it was a male, white, and the type of vehicle. Couldn't get the license plate. We did report it to the police, and they were investigating those types of things because it's not a common type of downspout. And actually, even our staff have been on the lookout all these weeks for that truck. There's a sticker on it on the back windshield and things. No luck. Anytime our staff have to go to any of the local hardware stores, either Lowe's, Home Depot, or such, they drive through the parking lot looking for the truck. And yes, we would have to have that fabricated. I mean, it amazes me that all these years, decades, that has never happened, and that this theft occurred. So now we've got our cameras positioned so that we can hopefully capture it better. We sure hope it doesn't happen again, but we are looking how we can replace that downspout.
Sounds to me like you followed up very professionally. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And the graffiti thing, it's all over. I just, driving up Route 13 toward Dryden, you go under the Cuga Heights Bridge. In the last couple of days, they've painted the bridge supports up there.
Yeah, and so I didn't answer that part of your question. So we did do the southern wall that faces Key Bank several weeks ago, and I'd asked to do the whole building. Our staff were just swamped, and so I want them to do the 2 others. I know those are a little more challenging because they have to be done either very early, off hours, or on a weekend, because our vehicles park right against the walls there. But yes, those are things that I've asked to be taken care of. And so I will remind our staff to see if they can definitely fit that in to get.
And what happened with the contractor on the flagpole?
Oh, we still have that contract. It's the same contractor that did this space several weeks ago, and so we have not forgotten. We had a contractor a few years ago that didn't perform, so we canceled the contract, brought in this other contractor to do it, and their challenge has been to get a lift in order to do the work. But Dana is really pushing that they try to get it done before, winter. And that window is quickly closing because of just temperatures. But no, we have a contract. We keep pushing the contractor. That's one of our challenges is we're having more difficulty on these little contracts to get contractors to perform, and we're limited on who we can go with because of the contract requirements for the county. So we can't go with just any painting contractor. They have to have certain insurance, meet certain insurance requirements. So this is one that has expressed interest and has the capability to do that, but we just cannot get them. And it's a small job for them. That's the thing.
But there's a little graffiti on the handrail now outside this building on the steps. They've painted on it. Greg?
Our staff know.
What kind of lift do you need to get, I guess I missed the flagpole.
This is the big Liberty pole out by the main
corner.
courthouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not the kind that you can tilt down, so they have to actually paint up the pole and to remove the paint first and then to paint it, so it's a little more difficult.
Dedicated, I think, 1950. Maybe they'll put that pole in.
Really?
Andy?
Rel, could you email us a picture of the truck?
Of the what?
Could you email us a picture of the truck? Is that electronic that we can?
What truck are we talking?
The truck that.
I'm
The
sorry.
miscreant, yeah.
I've already moved on. Okay. Yeah, I can talk to Alan. Alan's the one that did all the forensic investigation on that, but yes. It's a gray pickup. It's got a little cab and it has a sticker. So, yeah. Sure. If you see it, let us know. We'll let the authorities.
See Randy's truck driving around all the parking lots. You know why? He's not casing a joint. He's just looking for the copper pipes.
I already checked all your vehicles before I walked in.
Sticker's gone.
Sticker's gone, huh?
Anything else for Rel today? Rel, we appreciate your being here and your answers to our questions.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Transportation planning. We have a resolution to appoint a member of the TCAT board. It's different from the one we had last time. And the change has been the fact that we've had a sitting legislator come forward seeking the seat. The person that had been filling that seat previously was not a sitting legislator. And so I did pull the resolution at the request of leadership at the last meeting, and we now have one to appoint a sitting legislator. So that's what this is about.
Need to rescind the previous resolution.
Probably should. You want to move to do that?
Yeah, I made the resolution. And I'll move to strike it because I think it's the will of the legislature to make this change. And I think the individual that is being proposed will do an excellent job, but I will be voting against the resolution. But I'll move to rescind so that the committee can take action.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Greg. Discussion? Voting to rescind. Deb?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
I vote yes. Now, someone want to put the resolution to appoint Susan Curry on? Greg, seconded by Randy. Discussion. Ready to vote? Deb?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Lee?
No.
Greg?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. It was pretty unusual, the events here, but I think this will be, we'll be going ahead, as you say, leave the will of the legislature here. I don't have any transportation report this morning. I do plan to meet with Frank Doldo and talk about some highways. And I'll report back after I've done that in November.
Comment.
Randy?
The Newfield Covered Bridge area where the county, through the tourism, gave a grant to do some repairs to that area, and they're getting close to completion. The town did a lot of extra work and turned it into kind of a park area as well. So that the stairway is done, and I think it's going to be done, the whole area, within about 2 weeks. And I know we talked about at some point going and look at the covered bridge, and they're going to have dedication, but hopefully before the snow flies. But I just wanted to make you aware of that.
So when that gets scheduled, can you send out a notice so maybe if any of us would like to attend, we could?
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you. Greg?
This relates to transportation, Mike, and I'm wondering if at some point the committee could take a look at this or have a conversation about it. This came up at Strategic Tourism Planning Board meeting yesterday. With the conference center opening and tour groups and buses and things like that as they come into the city, there's not a lot of good places for those buses to park or to go, or how to be dealt with no central sort of lot or things like that. I just wonder if it would make sense at some point to have a committee discussion. I don't know if it's pressing, but I know for many it is, on how either the county or the city could be supportive or collaborative in that process. I know if anybody's driven down Green Street anytime recently with construction and the buses that are already parked there, it gets quite congested. But how we handle large buses and tour groups and things like that coming into our communities, I think would be an interesting discussion for our transportation folks to best understand.
I think that is a reasonable question, and if we want the conference center to be successful, that's one of the things that they're going to need is what do they do with their buses. And not only that, but you have the inner city buses that don't really have any place to go except drop people off in front of the library.
Yeah. Well, and the New York City to Ithaca buses and some of those regional buses as well that also use that area.
We have talked in the past about the idea of the airport being a transportation hub, and then maybe having the buses come into the airport and then shuttle downtown. That's not got much traction, although I think it might be helpful in a lot of ways, including to help the airport. But I would be glad to talk about that. Not that we have a lot of control over what the city does with its parking, but it's worth a discussion. Go ahead, Randy.
I attended a meeting 6 months ago or so, and the city planner said that one of the areas they're focused on is the Seneca parking area, the parking garage, and removing that and putting a new parking lot there and making that the bus center. So that's on their radar from what I heard.
Whatever they want to suggest, I think it just needs to be talked about, and they're going to have a conference center before they're going to have a new parking ramp. Go ahead, Lisa.
Also, to underscore what you mentioned, Mike, I've attended probably 2 meetings with the city staff and the DIA on this topic, not recently, but over the last year or so, where they've been looking for downtown locations with amenities, restrooms, a place for people to come in out of the cold, and no such location currently exists. So in each of those meetings, myself and other county staff, and I think maybe Deborah, or there was another legislator who was at one of those meetings where the airport was shared as a viable option, connecting with a shuttle to bring people downtown, but they're very much focused on keeping it downtown in the city.
Deborah has her hand up, Mike.
Deborah,
Yeah,
you're-
sorry
you're
for this
purple.
Barbie thing. I don't know why it does this. I looked everywhere to try to change myself back to real life color, but sorry.
Oh, looks like you're getting ready for Halloween.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, the problem with the airport as a hub with shuttling is I don't know who would provide that shuttle service. You would at various times need a pretty regular shuttle. And then at other times you wouldn't need it at all. And I just don't know how that would work, given the fact that we have so many issues with TCAT just meeting a pullout every morning and having drivers, and we have the whole CDL problem. I mean, I would love to see the airport turn into a transit hub, but I just don't see how that happens, given all the circumstances and shortages that we're facing at the moment.
Maybe you contract with a different bus company.
Yeah, but again, it would be for a very sporadic kind of service, so that would be a problem as well. I just don't know.
Well, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but
No.
Just wanted to flag the topic for maybe a future committee meeting.
I think it is, and maybe
It is a
Taylor,
problem.
we can put it down for, or, I'm sorry, Jordan, maybe we can put it down for discussion at some point.
Thank you.
Let's go to minutes. September 12th. Greg and I see Randy for second. Discussion. Let's vote. Deb?
Yes?
Randy?
Yes.
Lee? Greg?
Yes.
I'm a yes. September 21st. Greg? Randy? Discussion? Deb?
Yes?
Randy?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
I'm a yes. What else tonight? Tonight. I guess I'm thinking about our 11 o'clock meeting last night. All right, then I think we are adjourned. Thank you to our staff, Taylor and Jordan, both being here, and Rob up in the control room.